Tell me about Blackthorne Capital Management and your association with it.
Blackthorne started out as a software development project in conjunction with the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, develop a proprietary, we call it the toolbox, to create a backtesting and live trading platform so that someone did not need to be a programmer. They could just drag and drop and create complicated quantitative strategies. I joined about 3 years ago with the idea of taking that idea and develop some actual trading strategies around it. And we've been working to build these strategies. We now have a nice suite of different strategies, and we're ready to launch our product. Our program focuses on alternative data. So it's a sentiment momentum type trading strategy. Most of it, we have a couple of other things in there.
In terms of alternative data providers, I see you use SMA and Predata. What do those do for you?
We're continuously vetting new sources of alternative data. We've got a couple other ones we're working with. Those are the two that we've vetted and have made it through our process. They focus on taking this different types of data and constructing signals out of it. That's their expertise. Our expertise is taking those signals and combining them in a way in which we can create a trading model out of it. SMA is one of the few firms that has access to the whole Twitter fire hose, and so they're a really great partner to have. Predata focuses on web traffic, a very, very interesting way to look at data. You think about it, when someone is concerned about, say, a flood in Vietnam, they're going to initially do research on it. So you're going to see a hit in web traffic around that. Why would you might care about a flood in Vietnam? Because coffee is a large coffee producer. So that's why I guess where the name Predata comes from. When people are formulating their ideas, they do research on it and they gather that information in a way. And we take that information then, it's just a raw source of information. We found a way to filter that and magnify those signals in a way to, in a strategy that will be profitable in those markets.
How long does a trade last after you use SMA and Predata to determine it?
We focused on a sort of around 5 to 10 days are most of our models run, sometimes shorter. We have some intraday strategies, but the sweet spot for us in analyzing sentiment has been in that sort of time frame.
What are some of the other types of data that you're looking at other than Predata and SMA?
There's a number of sources out there that use news-related information to gain sentiment. And so we're looking at that as well. Sort of, again, they're aggregating information that comes across different news sources and different media sources and combining them in a way that we take those signals. And so we have a couple that we're looking there at vetting. There's just a lot of interesting other types of data. I mean, you've heard people about looking at using satellite photos to determine the amount of storage in an oil tank, or the amount of cars in the parking lot at Walmarts and things like that as a predictor. We're looking at those things too. Really, anything that again we can wrap in a way that we can get a kind of a macro signal on an energy product or on a global equity product or something like that. We're interested in exploring it.
Who else is using the toolkit?
We have a number of interns at the university that we hire, and I've got a team of researchers that are doing it. We're not selling it to the outside world. It's sort of the catch-22. When we were initially developing it, everybody said, well, have you had any strategies that use it to make money? And we early on, our answer was no, and so they weren't interested in it. Now it's like if they ask that question, the answer is yes, but we're less inclined to give it out now because it is part of our alpha, the fact that we can develop these strategies quickly in our prototyping environment, and it's a soup to nuts, so we can back test it and then we can trade it on the exact same platform. So there's no problem with getting a strategy into production quickly.
How many different strategies are you running?
Well, we trade 26 different futures markets, and we have about 40 strategies that are made it to the production level. We have about another 30 or 40 that we have in our incubator, which is sort of a process that we go through when a strategy is done. We don't just put it in production. We test it for a 3 to 6 month period just to make sure that it's working right. So as you know, I mean, John, you've been around almost probably as long as I have. All trades, all edge goes away. So you have to keep on coming up with new ideas in the pipeline to make sure that you can keep on doing this stuff. And so our toolbox makes it really easy for that. And we've got some really great guys on the team that are developing these strategies, and some we're kind of testing the limit of cotton and cocoa, and wherever there's liquidity, we're trying to create models from. Our program will be launched as a fund through Efficient Capital Management. We expect to be going live within the next couple of weeks. We've been able to do meet expectations during the last few months, and so we think we're in a really good shape. The product is not correlated with the S&P 500 or most major benchmarks, so we think it really fits into that alternative data space that every advisor says that a diversified portfolio should have in their a certain percent in their portfolio.
What are the lessons you learned at Hull Trading that you're applying to your trading with Blackthorne?
I think the same way. Peter and I think the same way as far as how to construct a portfolio. It's very similar to what we did at Hull Trading Company on a different dimension. Right there, we were dealing with market making and options, but still the idea was to construct a portfolio and manage your risk. So we're doing the exact same thing. So it's that experience and that risk profile has carried through to this project as well.